We now have IFC presenter Ed Feng on the line with us. And Ed Feng is a guy that went to Rice University, then got his PhD at Stanford University, one of the smartest minds in sports betting, arguably the smartest mind in the whole sports betting industry. Ed, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great, Drew. How are you?
Doing good. Excited to get to meet you on August 3rd or August 4th, whenever you get down here to Costa Rica. I know the watchers are excited as well, and just got a couple questions so they get to know you a little better. After you got finished there at Stanford, did you get right into sports betting, or did you do another type of industry before?
No. I never actually thought I'd be working in sports. I got my PhD, was kind of on the fast track to become a professor, and just thought I'd do research and be a professor and do some teaching. But then it was 2008, so this is kind of a bunch of years after I finished up my PhD. I was looking at some of Google's technology, and the PageRank that they had used to organize the web was based on the same principles that I was working on in my thesis and my research. And I just got inspired to try to think about how to apply those methods to ranking sports teams. And that ended up being kind of my gateway into sports analytics and betting on sports.
Okay, cool. And as far as when you just say like ranking teams, do you have a specialty like college football, college basketball, or the pro sports, or do you just kind of do all of them?
Yeah, so I mean, I do all of them in the sense that like my algorithm works for essentially any sport I've looked at. College football. I start out with the NFL, essentially because it was easiest to get data and send out an email to friends, and that's really how I got started. Like sending an email to friends, and enough people were interested in like, hey, you need to look into this more. But one thing I really do on my site is international soccer. So I did a bunch of predictions for the Confederations Cup. We'll be doing a lot of stuff for the World Cup, and it's all based on the same algorithm. It looks at the scores in matches over the last 4 years, and that algorithm adjusts for strength of schedule. So it looks at teams in Europe and South America and how they've played a much tougher schedule, similar to teams in the Big Ten and the SEC in college football, and it makes appropriate adjustments for that. It's not just college football. It's a lot of other things. I mean, I have baseball on my site, international soccer, NBA.
Have you found that you're, I guess, sharper or more accurate in certain sports than others?
With the base algorithm, I would bet no. It probably gets you to a certain level of accuracy that is, certainly useful in helping you make bets, but not something you just want to look at and blindly bet on it. You kind of have to do a little bit more work, and that's what I do. I do the most work in college football and the NFL. So beyond, this all started out with team rankings, which looks at margin of victory of games and makes adjustments for strength of schedule. What I've done in football is dig deeper. So I look at yards per play, yards per pass attempt, and other statistics that kind of offer a different perspective on teams. And so when you start making those same adjustments for strength of schedule, you get an alternative view. And then when you combine that with your original team rankings, that's when you get more powerful predictions.
Okay.
At least that's what I've found.
Okay. And we're trying to ask everybody like 3 pillars of sports betting. So talking to more of an amateur sports bettor or somebody just getting into the sports betting industry, betting for the first time now that it's becoming more mainstream, would you maybe tell them a tip or two about things that you try to never do or things that you've learned from in the past, maybe mistakes that you've made?
Yeah, I mean, I would say 2 things. So first of all, it's 2017. You need analytics. It has to be a part of what you do. You need some kind of objective quantification of teams. It's just, everyone else is using it, and you're going to be kind of lost in the middle of the ocean if you don't. But my second point is you can't just rely on the analytics. I think there's always a need to understand what your analytics does and what the weaknesses are. And if you don't understand those weaknesses, you're also going to run into problems similar to, the quants that really screwed up our financial system back in 2008. They didn't really understand the assumptions of their model, and they didn't understand when their model could go wrong. So, it's a fine art. It's partially why I write so much on my site. I try to get content out there about like what's good about my models, what deficiency it has, so you can always make subjective adjustments to really understand what's going on in sports.
Ed, I love that analogy, like what the quants did in 2008. I've never heard that before, man. That's a good one. What about your opinion on what sports betting will look like in, say, 5 or 10 years? What are the major differences going to be from today's sports betting industry?
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally not the originator of any of these thoughts, but from just listening to people who probably have been in the world longer than I have, I feel like, I mean, we're clearly heading towards the path of legalization, especially in the United States, and a lot of people expect that soon. And then I think a lot of people expect, in-game betting to kind of get bigger. And, that's something that I'm working on with the analytics. And definitely it's in my kind of long-term plan to, not only have the game predictions and the breakdowns and matchups and things that I have now, but also be able to look at any point in the game, who's got the ball, what the score is, and try to project out what's going to happen for the remainder of the game.
Okay. And Ed Feng, you can find him. He's going to be a big part of Sportsbook reviews, SBR picks going forward. We're trying to make it a sharper site, more analytics based. And Ed, your work is at thepowerrank.com. Is that correct?
That's right. Yep, that's my site. And I'm at thepowerrank at Twitter. So feel free to hit me up there as well.
Yeah, powerrank.com, at powerrank on Twitter. Also, last but not least, when you're down here in Costa Rica, and some of the watchers right now being down here, they want to ask you some questions. What's your drink of choice? Do you like cocktails, beer? What should they offer to buy you?
Oh, so that's interesting. So up here, I really like coffee. I think the only things I drink are water, coffee, beer, and margaritas. So I like all those things. I'm kind of a snot about every single one of those, except for maybe the water. But I think in Costa Rica it might be a little different, right? I mean, you got some good rum down there.
Absolutely, man. I can't recommend Florida Cana anymore. It's a rum from Nicaragua, so that's one I would definitely try when you're down. But maybe what type of beer?
I'm a huge IPA kind of guy. I live in Ann Arbor, and a new brewery called Holmes here just opened up. So just really blessed to kind of have that, something that just started out. And it's actually, it's interesting. It's like very similar to coffee in a lot of ways. Like there's a lot of coffee drinkers and IPA drinkers that really like bold yet subtle flavors. So yeah, that's my favorite type of beer.
Okay, cool. So not sure if we have that type of beer in Costa Rica. I know we got some IPAs down here, also some regular Costa Rican beers, but excellent. Margaritas might be the choice for Ed if you're trying to get to know him.
Sounds good.
All right, Ed. Hey, appreciate you taking the time and look forward to seeing you on August 4th, buddy.